Good evening. Welcome to the midterm election night 2018. Today is November 6, 2018, and today we have the Democratic Party challenging the Republican Party across the House of Representatives, the governorships across the United States, and a number of Senate races ranging up across the United States of America. We have our first poll closings out of the 7 p.m. poll closings with 6 states up for grabs tonight. The state of Virginia, the Senate race here now going to Senator Tim Kaine. Remember, he was the vice presidential candidate for Hillary Clinton back in 2016. Another seat, Vermont, goes to Bernie Sanders with very little opposition in this state. He's an independent who caucuses with the Democrats, thus the signifying purple mark. The state of Indiana, the Senate race here is currently too close to call, held by the Democrat Joe Donnelly, the incumbent. Out of the state of South Carolina, the governorship goes to Henry McMaster, who has now been re-elected. He had a very grueling primary season, but will go on to win the general election. The state of Vermont now re-electing Phil Scott as their governor for another 2-year term, who is now up for re-election in 2020. The state of Georgia is currently too close to call. Casey Cagle is currently leading after winning in a very hard-fought primary on the Republican side. Now for our House races, the state of Indiana remains with its Republican identity, 7 Republicans, 2 Democrats. The state of Georgia, 9 Republicans losing 1 Republican to the Democrats, with 5 Democrats now. The state of Virginia, 11 congressional districts, 5 in the Democratic column and 6 in the Republican column, another gain for the Democrats. The state of South Carolina, 1 in the Democratic column, 6 in the Republican column. The state of Kentucky, there was a more hotly contested swing district here, but the Democrats will finish off the night with 1 seat and the Republicans at 5. The state of Vermont, with its sole congressional district, remains in the Democratic column. Looking at our House Representatives map right now, we have 33 Republicans and 15 Democrats with a total of 435 seats, 218 needed for a majority. The Democrats are currently leading with 2 gains. The Republicans currently have the majority in the Senate right now with 42 seats, and the Democrats are at 25, holding 2 of their Democratic seats. And now we have our current map for the governorships across the United States, 9 Republicans with the lead and 7 Democrats. It is now time for the 7:30 p.m. poll closings from 3 states. The state of West Virginia, a hotly contested Senate race here. Joe Manchin currently leading Patrick Morrisey, the current Attorney General of the state of West Virginia. The state of Ohio, Sherrod Brown easily leading his Republican opponent. This is a seat held by the Democrats. The state of Ohio, a seat held by the Republicans. The governorship, very popular Governor John Kasich now retiring. Richard Cordray currently leading Mike DeWine in this hotly contested governor race here. The state of West Virginia holds on to its Republican identity with 3 Republicans being sent to Congress next time. The state of Ohio, 12 Republicans, 4 Democrats, no change in the composition here. Another state with no change, North Carolina, 3 Democrats and 10 Republicans. Looking at our House map, we have 58 Republicans and the Democrats at 22, with the Democrats at 2 gains. Looking at our Senate map now, the Democrats have 25 seats and 42 seats for the Republicans, with just 2 new states added in the toss-up column, and another state added to the toss-up column, Ohio, on the governorship map, 9 Republicans and 7 Democrats. It is now time for our 8 p.m. poll closings from a number of states. The state of Mississippi, Roger Wicker easily wins re-election in the Senate race here. Coming out of the same state, the special election from the state of Mississippi, Cindy Hyde-Smith, the incumbent senator appointed by the governor, will go on to win her first full term in the United States Senate. The state of Maryland, Ben Cardin is the projected winner, easily wins re-election in the state of Maryland. Tom Carper easily wins re-election in the Senate from the state of Delaware. The incumbent Bob Menendez, who was caught up in a corruption trial a couple months ago, goes on to win that Senate race here, wins re-election. The state of Connecticut, Chris Murphy, one of the Democratic top names for the 2020 presidential election, goes on to win another 6-year term in the United States Senate. Sheldon Whitehouse wins in Rhode Island's Senate race here, another 6-year term for him. Elizabeth Warren, speaking of possible 2020 contenders, Elizabeth Warren being one of them, she wins another 6-year term from her home state of Massachusetts. The state of Pennsylvania, a state Donald Trump carried back in 2016, Bob Casey now easily wins re-election in the Senate race here, not that contested. Another independent now winning, Angus King out of the state of Maine, an independent who caucuses with the Democratic Party, who got the endorsement from the Maine Democratic Party. Angus King goes on to win another 6-year term from the state of Maine. Tennessee, a predominantly Republican state, now too close to call. A former seat held by Bob Corker. Phil Bredesen is currently behind Marsha Blackburn. Keep in mind, Phil Bredesen is a former governor from this state, a Democrat. The state of Missouri, Claire McCaskill is currently leading her Republican opponent. This is a Democratic seat, one of the main points for a toss-up. And the state of Florida, currently too close to call. Bill Nelson is narrowly leading the incumbent governor Rick Scott. In the state of Tennessee, Diane Black wins her first term as governor here. She is the projected winner out of the solidly Republican state. Another solidly Republican state, Kay Ivey, wins the Alabama governor race here for her first full term. The state of Massachusetts, Charlie Baker, the most popular governor in the United States, goes on to win re-election. New Hampshire, another popular governor, SUNUNU, first elected back in 2016, goes on to win another 2-year term from this state. Oklahoma, MICK, CORNETT, who won a very contested Republican primary here after finishing the runoff a couple months ago, he wins in the governor race here, going on for his first term. Another state won by the president back in 2016, Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf wins the governor race here, an easy slide to re-election. The state of Maryland, too close to call. Larry Hogan currently leading his Democratic opponent, Ben Jealous. The state of Rhode Island is also too close to call. This is a Democratic seat. Interestingly, the Republicans are currently leading. The state of Connecticut, another state too close to call. The Democrats currently have a considerable lead. The state of Maine, another seat held by the Republicans, too close to call. An exact tie between both top candidates. The state of Illinois, a Republican seat here. The incumbent governor is currently losing to his Democratic challenger, but this can change overnight. The state of Florida, also too close to call. We also have a hotly contested Senate race here, too close to call out of the state of Florida. Looking at our House map, we have 7 Republicans from the state of Tennessee and 2 Democrats. Going over to Alabama, 6 Republicans, 1 Democrat. The state of Missouri, 6 Republicans, 2 Democrats. No real change in the number of these races. Mississippi, 3 Republicans leading off to 1 Democrat. The state of Oklahoma, keeping its Republican identity, 5 Republicans being sent to Congress. The state of Florida, the Democrats getting a gain of 2 in this state. 27 congressional districts, 13 going to the Democrats and 14 to the Republicans. The state of Illinois, the Democrats gaining 1 here, 12 Democratic seats and 6 Republican seats. The state of Maryland, 7 Democrats, 1 Republican. The state of Delaware with its sole district, Democratic territory. The state of New Jersey, 3 gains for the Democrats, giving them a total of 10 seats, to the Republicans 2, an overwhelming supermajority in that state. The state of Connecticut, all 5 of their congressional districts have been awarded to Democrats. Same thing in the state of Massachusetts, all 9 of their congressional districts will now go to the Democratic Party. The state of New Hampshire, again, 2 congressional districts, all of them going to the Democrats. Same case in the state of Rhode Island. 2 Democratic seats. The state of Maine is now a little bit more contested. 1 Democratic seat, 1 Republican seat from the 2nd district. The state of Pennsylvania, again, another state that was previously extremely gerrymandered, is now a bit more favorable to the Democratic Party, giving them a net gain of 3, giving them a total of 9 seats, tying the balance of power to 9 Republican seats. And looking at our House map, we have 118 Republicans who have lost a total of 11 seats, giving the Democrats a net gain of 11 at 99 seats. Looking at our Senate map, the Democrats currently have 33 seats, gaining their numbers up there, but the Republicans have 44, 6 away from a majority. The governor map, we have 14 Republicans and 8 Democrats. It is now time for our 8:30 p.m. poll closings. The state of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson easily wins re-election here in the governor's race. The state of Arkansas also will go on to the House of Representatives with 4 Republicans and 0 Democrats, adding to the Republicans' total with 122 seats for the Republican Party and 99 for the Democrats. And looking at our Senate map, we have 44 Republicans and 33 Democrats, no change here. On the governor map, the Republicans now go up by 1, 15 seats for the Republicans and 8 Democrats. It is now time for our 9 p.m. poll closings up across the United States, up across the red wall as well. The state of Nebraska, Deb Fischer easily wins re-election here in the Senate race, another 6-year term. John Barrasso, the incumbent senator from Wyoming, goes on to win another 6-year term in this state. New Mexico, Martin Heinrich, the Republicans thought they had a chance of winning here. The Democrats go on to win the Senate race there. Michigan, another state won by the president back in 2016, now easily going to the Democratic incumbent. Another state, Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin easily wins re-election in the state of Wisconsin. Minnesota, this is the special election here. Tina Smith, the former lieutenant governor of the state, goes on to win her first full term in the Senate. The state of Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar easily wins re-election here, one of the more popular senators from the Democratic Party. The state of New York, Kirsten Gillibrand easily wins re-election here. Many call her Hillary Clinton 2.0. The state of Ohio, now we have a projection. Sherrod Brown wins re-election out of the state of Ohio. Before, this was a leaning Republican seat about a year ago, slowly led up into being a leaning to likely Democratic seat, and the numbers don't lie. Sherrod Brown wins re-election from the state of Ohio. The Texas Senate race is currently too close to call. Ted Cruz leads his Democratic challenger. The state of North Dakota, Heidi Heitkamp leading her Republican challenger, the sole representative from the state of North Dakota, Kevin Cramer. The state of Arizona, a dead tie. Kyrsten Sinema currently ahead by around 10 votes over Martha McSally. They're both even out to be around 50%. This is a Republican-held seat. The state of New York, the governor's race here easily goes to Andrew Cuomo. No surprise here. The state of Colorado, Jared Polis, now the first openly gay governor elected in the United States. Colorado will be a first. The governor's race goes to the Democrats in Colorado. Now, one of the first gains of tonight, Michelle GRISHAM easily wins the New Mexico governor race, previously held by another female Republican in the state of New Mexico, now going to the Democratic Party. Texas easily re-elects Greg Abbott, one of the more popular governors in the United States, from a mildly swing state. The state of Nebraska, Pete Ricketts easily wins his first election here as the governor. And the state of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, the sole representative from the state of South Dakota, wins the governor's race here for her first 4-year term. Wyoming, Ed Murray wins the governor's race here, another 4 years. The state of Kansas, the governor's race is currently too close to call, not between a Democrat and a Republican, but between an independent and the Republican Party. Jeff Quiller, who won the primary a couple months ago, Greg Orman, the independent endorsed by the Democratic Party as the Democratic candidates, dropped out of the race. Now too close to call. If you remember him from 2014, he ran in the Senate race there against Pat Roberts, the incumbent Republican senator, but lost by around 10%, is now vying for another bid in the state of Kansas. Arizona is currently too close to call. This is a Republican seat in the governor's race, which not many people expected to be close. David Garcia at 47%, Doug Ducey, the incumbent, at 53%. The state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer is currently leading her Republican challenger by around 10%. Keep in mind, this is a state that was held by Donald Trump back in 2016 and was a Republican governorship back in 2014. The state of Minnesota, the governor's race here is an open seat, democratically held. Tim Walz currently leading Tim Pawlenty in the governor's race here. The state of Wisconsin, Scott Walker vying for his third term, currently leading his Democratic challenger. The state of Kansas sends 4 Republicans to the House of Representatives. The state of Nebraska, the Democrats now gaining 1 in the 2nd congressional district, which was pretty surprising for the Democrats. They now have 1, the Republicans have 2. The state of Texas, the Democrats only gained 1 here. They were targeting this state heavily, especially with the Senate race here. 12 Democrats, 24 Republicans. The state of Louisiana, 1 Democrat, 5 Republicans. The state of Wyoming, its sole district, goes to the Republican Party handily. The state of South Dakota, another state with a sole congressional district, the Republicans carry that. The state of North Dakota, 1 congressional district, the Republicans will carry that. The state of Michigan, the Democrats now gaining 1 seat, putting them at 6 Democratic seats, and the Republicans at 8. The state of Minnesota, the Democrats now gaining 2, only sending 1 Republican to Congress from the state of Minnesota and 7 Democratic congressmen. The state of New York, a Democratic gain in this state, giving them a total of 19 seats to the Republicans 8. The state of New Mexico, 2 Democratic seats, the Republicans hold on to 1. There was a more hotly contested Senate race here on the House Representative side in one of the more Republican districts. But the state of Colorado, the Democrats now gaining 1, putting them at a total of 4, now leaning over the Republican Party at 3. In the state of Arizona, the Democrats are now the majority, sending Arizona representatives to the House of Representatives. The Democrats have 5 and the Republicans have 4. The state of Wisconsin, now an even tie. Retiring incumbent Paul Ryan has now lost his seat to a Democrat. It was not him who had lost, but it was a Republican challenger and a Democratic challenger, as it was an open seat, now going to the Democratic Party, which should sting a little for the Republicans, giving the Democrats a total of 4 seats and the Republicans at 4. Looking at our House map, we have 189 seats for the Republicans, filling in most of the United States now, and the Democrats at 160. Keep in mind, 218 are needed for a majority in the House of Representatives, and the Democrats need a total of 24 seats 24 gains of seats in order to win back the majority. Looking at our Senate race now, Senate map, we have 46 Republicans and 39 Democrats. No gains, no losses just yet. The governor's map, we have Republicans at 19 seats when they've lost 1 seat to the Democrats, and the Democrats at 11. It is now time for our 10 p.m. poll closings. We have a number of calls to make. The state of Utah, Mitt Romney is the projected winner out of the Senate race here. Keep in mind, this was the 2012 presidential candidate for the Republican side, moved from Massachusetts to the state of Utah to run in the Senate race here. Mitt Romney wins his first term in the United States Senate as a senator from Utah. The state of Texas, Ted Cruz is now the projected winner over his Democratic challenger. Ted Cruz wins the Senate race here, another 6-year term for him, closer than many people expected. The state of West Virginia, Joe Manchin is the apparent winner out of the state of West Virginia, defeating Patrick Morrisey, his Republican challenger. The state of Montana, too close to call, Matt Rosendale behind incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Tester. The state of Nevada, Jackie Rosen currently leading Dean Heller. Dean Heller is the incumbent of the state of Nevada. The state of Iowa, Kim Reynolds now winning her first term in the governor's race here, her first 4-year term. The state of Nevada, the governor's race here is currently too close to call. Steve Sisolak is currently leading his Republican challenger. This is a Republican-held seat. The state of Montana sends one representative from the Republican Party to Congress. The state of Utah, all 4 of their congressional members will now be from the Republican Party. The state of Nevada, 3 Democrats, 1 Republican, not much changing there. The state of Iowa, the Democrats now gaining a seat, giving them a total of 2, tying with the Republicans at 2. And looking at our map for the House of Representatives, we have 197 seats, giving the Republicans a total of 20 losses and the Democrats a total of 20 gains at 165. Looking at our Senate map now, we have 47 Republican seats and 40 Democratic seats. Again, no gains, no losses just yet. And looking at our governor map, we have 11 Democrats and 20 Republicans. It is now 11 p.m. Eastern Time and standby for many projections. The state of California, Dianne Feinstein easily defeats her Democratic challenger in this state. The state of Washington, Maria Cantwell wins her Senate race here, another 6-year term for her. The incumbent Mazie Hirono has no real opposition in the state of Hawaii. The Senate race here now easily goes to her. Nevada, this is the first gain in the United States Senate for either political party. Jackie Rosen defeats the unpopular Senator Dean Heller in the state of Nevada. This is a gain for the Democratic Party. Jackie Rosen, previously a congressman from the 3rd District of Nevada, now going on to win. Jon Tester is now the apparent winner out of the state of Montana. He goes on to win the Senate race here, another 6-year term for him, a hold for the Democrats. Another big win for the Democrats, Claire McCaskill wins re-election out of the state of Missouri. This was one of the more hotly contested swing states. In the Senate races here, Claire McCaskill defeats Josh Hawley, her Republican opponent, in the state of Missouri. The Senate race here, hotly contested Republican primary, now going to the Democrats. The state of Indiana, here's their first gain for the Republicans tonight. Mike Braun wins the Indiana Senate race here, defeating incumbent Senator Joe Donnelly, now canceling out one gain by the Democrats. The state of Idaho, the governor's race here, now going to Brad Little, who had defeated one of the few representatives from the state of Idaho in a primary. Wisconsin, Scott Walker is now the apparent winner. He will go on to win re-election for a 3rd term in the governor's race in the state of Wisconsin. The state of Georgia, Casey Cagle now winning the governor's race here, his first 4-year term from the state of Georgia, defeating possibly one of the first female African-American candidates. The state of Kansas, the apparent winner is Jeff Koiler over Greg Orman, the independent. The Senate race now remains in the governor's race now remains in the Republican column. The state of Arizona, another Republican to win. Doug Ducey wins re-election from the state of Arizona. The state of California, Gavin Newsom easily wins his election here, being the current lieutenant governor, now going on to be the future governor. The state of Oregon, Kate Brown wins the governor's race here, wins re-election in this state. The state of Hawaii, a very hotly contested Democratic primary. The incumbent governor only narrowly scraping out of that with a projection for him in the general election. He wins re-election. Rhode Island, Gina Raimondo easily wins the Rhode Island governor race here. It was a lot closer than people expected, which was why it was considered a swing state, but then again, she was able to pull off a victory that was pretty outstanding. The state of Connecticut, Ned Lamont coming with a state that has an extremely unpopular Democratic governor with an approval rating below 30%. Ned Lamont easily wins here compared to the previous governor. The state of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker wins for a Democratic gain in the state of Illinois. He is the apparent winner out of this seat, flipping it from red to blue. Another state flipping from red to blue, the state of Maine, Janet Mills wins the governor's race here. She is the apparent winner by a narrow margin. Another state, Michigan, a Democratic gain. Gretchen Whitmer defeats her Republican challenger in the state of Michigan. The governor's race here is now going from red to blue. The state of Minnesota, Tim Walz wins this race for the Democrats. This will be a hold for the Democratic Party. The state of Idaho, 2 seats from the Republican Party, 0 seats for the Democrats. The state of California, the biggest prize in the union for both congressional districts and in presidential election years' electoral votes. The Democrats now gaining a total of 5 seats, putting them at 44, and the Republicans at 9 seats, losing 5 seats in the House. The state of Washington, the Democrats now gaining 1 at 7 seats to the Republicans' 3. The state of Oregon, 4 districts in the Democratic column and 1 for the Republicans, and the state of Hawaii will send both of its congressmen from the Democratic Party, and of course the Republicans have 0. We now have a major projection. The Democrats will win control of the United States House of Representatives. Flipping from the Republican side, if we can take a look at our map now, the Democrats have 222 seats to the Republicans 212. The Democrats have gained a total of 28 seats, 4 more than they needed to win a majority back in this race. Looking at our Senate race now, the Democrats have a total of 1 gain, 2 gains, and the Republicans have 1, but it evens out to a net gain of 1 seat for the Democratic Party, putting them at 48 seats to the Republicans 48. And looking at our governor map, we now have Republicans at 25, 1 away from retaining the majority in the National Governors Association, and the Democrats have gained a total of 4 seats at 21 seats for the Democratic Party. It is now 12 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. We have a number of state calls from the states of Nevada, Arizona, Tennessee, Ohio, Maryland, Florida, and North Dakota. The state of Arizona, the apparent winner is now Kyrsten Sinema. She is the Democrat. She wins in the Senate race here. This is a Democratic gain. And the state of Tennessee, another Democratic gain. Phil Bredesen wins in the Senate race here. A solidly Republican state. The Democrats now gain in this race. Little silver lining for Republicans. A gain for Republicans in the state of North Dakota. Kevin Cramer, the sole representative, wins in the Senate race here, defeating Heidi Heitkamp in this hotly contested Senate race here. Another state, Florida, one that many expected to go to Bill Nelson and others expected to go to Rick Scott, the incumbent governor. The incumbent governor now wins, which is a Republican gain on the Republican side. The state of Maryland, the apparent winner. Governor Larry Hogan, the second most popular governor in the United States, wins re-election. A state that is extremely Democratic now going to the Republicans. The state of Florida, which just elected Rick Scott as their next senator from the state of Florida. Gwen Graham now wins the governor's race here, flipping it from red to blue, whereas the Senate race has flipped from blue to red. A gain for the Democrats. Another gain for the Democrats, the state of Ohio. Richard Cordray, which was leading in opinion polls by 1.7% on election day. The Democrats now gaining in the state of Ohio. Retiring Governor John Kasich was extremely popular, but that did not help the Republican candidate. The state of Nevada, Steve Sisolak, a Democratic state from 2016, a Democratic state in the Senate race here, now a Democratic state when it comes to the governorship. Steve Sisolak wins the Democrats a seat in the state of Nevada, a gain for them. But we now have a major projection. Republicans will retain control of the United States National Governors Association, which means they will be the majority when it comes to makeup and composition of governors across the United States. The Republicans hold on to this, and they also retain control of the United States Senate, winning a total of 50 seats with Vice President Mike Pence, who would make the tie in the favor of the Republican Party. The Republicans now retain control of the United States Senate. Looking at our House map, the Democrats have won here with 222 seats and 212 seats for the Republicans. But on the Senate map, the Republicans now have 50 seats and the Democrats have 50, tying the Senate with Vice President Mike Pence, making all the difference in the favor of the Republican Party. Looking at our governor map, we have 26 Republicans, them holding on to the majority with 1 seat outstanding, and 23 Democrats with a total of 7 gains. It is now time for our 1 a.m. poll closings. The state of Alaska, Mead Treadwell easily wins the governor's race here with a 3-way split between him, the Democrat, and the independent incumbent governor. Mead Treadwell easily wins the Republican vote here with around 45% going to him. And Alaska also sends its 1 congressional member from the sole district from the Republican Party. Looking at our map, we have 213 Republicans with a net loss of 28 seats, which means a net gain of 28 seats for the Democrats, putting them in the majority at 222. The Republicans now retaining the majority in the Senate at 50 seats to the Democrats' 50. And on the governorships, the Republicans have 27 seats and the Democrats have 23 with a total of 7 gains.